As the chair, I'd like to say that it's been a very challenging year for both the local party and for the Liberal Democrats. As we all know, we've not been doing terribly well in the polls. We've got a massive programme of austerity going on. We're in coalition with the Conservatives. It's not playing very well in the local communities in Nottingham, and that showed in last year's local elections. Unfortunately, as a result of the conditions we had, we lost all our councillors, and that's a very significant sort of shock for the Nottingham City Liberal Democrats. So, and like other parties up and down the country, we've also lost members. As a result of that, what we could have done as a party, as I've said before, is we could have just sat back and allowed ourselves to shrivel and die. That is a very easy way out. What we decided to do on the executive was to raise our profile, to do a lot more work, and to keep the level of motivation going within our local party that's required in order to see us through this very, very difficult period. So we needed high levels of motivation. We needed to make sure people were doing what we were doing, that our executive and party machinery was operating smoothly, so that when we get to a stage where the environment picks up, we are very well organised to move forward. And so we had to make sure that we were still active and effective. And what's more, we lost all the income that we were getting through our councillors. So the levy that was being applied to councillors, the local party didn't get any more money coming through. So our resources, were in a perilous state as well. So how did we overcome that? Well, we overcame that by basically organising events and activities and keeping people active and keeping people interested. And in this last year, we've done some really interesting and challenging programmes of activity. We've invited Vince Cable here. We had a very successful event with the Vince Cable event. As a result of that, we also raised money. We've had the Nick Clegg event, which also raised the profile, got members active, promoted teamwork, coordination amongst our executive. So people were very happy to keep working hard, and the motivation levels were there. We've invited Lord Tom McNally. That was a very successful event. And also Dame Shirley Williams also attended. So we've done lots of things in the region which have raised the party's profile, and not just helped the Nottingham party. Actually, I think we've had an impact across the whole region, because people across the region have felt enthused and motivated as a result of some of the things that we've been doing. So, and I've had that feedback from people firsthand. So I think we should all, pat ourselves on the back for all the hard work we've been doing. Two of the people that have been doing a lot of the hard work behind the scenes are here today. Julia is here. Julie's been doing a lot of work. And Alison, you've been fantastic, Alison. Thank you. We value the great work you've done, because it's not just about being there, sitting pretty on the desk, on the tables. It's about what goes in behind the scenes. And believe you me, we've had some very difficult moments over this last year. And following on from that, we've got Tim Farron coming here, on the 31st, which is not a Nottingham event, it's a Nottingham County event, but it's still coming in, he's coming into the city, so we will have some responsibility for making sure that event goes smoothly. And in February, we've got Ed Davey. So Ed Davey is coming, and we've got a fundraiser with Ed Davey, which again will be a star-spangled event, and again will keep people moving. Now, what you will probably say is, yes, we've raised some money, yes, we've managed to get people motivated, we've got some teamwork going on, all that, but none of that is effective on the ground, because we need to be knocking on doors, we need to be campaigning. So actually, that's what we've started doing as well. We've got some money in our coffers now, and we have regular campaign action days. So that started again. So the whole process, the machinery of campaigning, in time for the 2015 elections, that has started. Sagir is doing a great deal of work in Lean Valley. Michael's doing loads of work as well in Wollerton, and we've got teams of people out at least once a week. So all of that's happening. As well as that, we've raised our profile as a group, and we've kept our campaigning skills alive. And we've done that by helping other constituencies in elections and by-elections across the region. And at the moment, I'm really happy to say that we in Nottingham have got a very nice reputation for helping others. And we do get requests for help and support from across the region. And I'll just list some of the places where we, as individuals, Nottingham Party members, have been out and about campaigning and supporting other campaigns. We've done a lot of work in the Chesterfield by-election. We are still doing a lot of work in the Corby by-election. We had some local elections, by-elections in Lincolnshire, where we actually went all the way out into the sticks and we were campaigning in Lincolnshire. We've done some work. Sorry, what was that?
Got lost.
Yeah, we did get lost, yes, of course.
Moving on.
Loughborough as well, there was a by-election, we did a bit of work there. We've been working in Broxtowe by-elections, Gedling, Bassetlaw, South Northants. We did a lot of work in Derby over a period of time where we were out there knocking on doors in at least 3 or 4 local ward campaigns. We also worked in Epperstone, where one of our own members, William, I keep getting it wrong. Is it
Davison.
William Davison. I keep saying Davidson. William Davison stood and had a very respectable result. And of course, we went to work for Naveed Alam in Harborough as well in the by-election. So I think that is testimony to the efforts of people in our local party, and also shows that, even though we don't have live and kicking campaigns in Nottingham, we are expending the energy somewhere, and at the same time we're expanding our networks across the region, and we're expanding the level of goodwill. So hopefully, when we need support in Nottingham, we'll be calling on people to come back and give us that support in local campaigns. We've also managed to set up in this last year a policy group. So that's a little group that we've set up to talk about policy matters with regard to the local council and with regard to issues which affect us in the local communities here. And I'm glad to say we've had a couple of meetings, I think. Is it 1 meeting or 2? So, yeah, we've had 2 meetings and that's going really well. So we've now got a process for developing policy which we never had before. And I think that's a great development. Also, I think I would like everyone to give Scott Walker a big round of applause for winning the National Award for the Best Member of Youth. Thank you. We never took Scott seriously, I'll tell you.
Thanks, Issan.
And as demonstrated at the back, that's some of Scott's work. So, we never took Scott seriously. He was a bit like a mad professor on his computer. Until actually, I think nationally, his work has finally been recognised. And we realise that we've got a genius in our midst. So,
too kind.
So, I mean, that's a great, I think, honour for the local party to have someone like Scott with us. On top of that, we've also, one of the people in our local party has also been asked to become the chair of the regional East Midlands Regional Fundraising Committee, and that's Alison Rouse. So Alison, there you are there. And Alison will be leading the fundraising efforts for the 2014 Euro elections, and she's been given a target of £100,000 to raise.
I know where you all live.
So Alison, I think, again, it's an honour for us as a local party to have such people doing that level of work. And then there's one final bit which I'd like to very quickly raise, and that's the whole issue of the county group. Previously, this county never had a group which met and brought people together from the different parts of the county. So Broxtowe didn't know what Nottingham was doing, and Nottingham never had an idea what Gedling was doing, and everyone was doing their own little bits. So finally, we've brought together the Nottingham and Nottinghamshire Constituencies group. And that's a group which operates at a county level. There was a lot of effort and networking which went into bringing that group together. And you know, for my sins, I was sort of elected to be the first chair of that group. We've had our first year in terms of running that group, and you know, it's going very strong. And the Tim Farron event is really being run on behalf of that particular group. So my intentions are possibly, you know, to see what happens next year. But we've got an AGM coming up in January, I think, and we'll decide whether or not I continue with that role. But I'd be very happy, really, for someone else from the county to come in and take it over, you know, to move on to the next stage. Because I think everyone in the county needs to have an opportunity to be able to lead that particular group. So there's some of the things that we've done as a local party over this last year. And I really want to thank all the people on the executive who've worked tirelessly to keep the momentum going, to keep energy levels going, and to keep us moving through what is, without doubt, a very difficult and challenging time for us nationally and at a local level. So I want to thank everyone. I'd like a round of applause for everyone on the executive. Thank you. And also, just to finish off with the chair's report, I don't have any. Well, I've already stated my intention to stand down. So I haven't stood for the role of chair this year, and we'll have a look at the results of the nominations that come in. But I felt personally that I've given 2 years of my time to the local party, and I need to be concentrating on other things as well. And some of the work nationally which I'm involved in, which is the ethnic minority Liberal Democrats, I need to spend a little bit of time there, plus my own job and my work and my family. So you won't see me sitting in this chair next year, all being well, and there'll be somebody else. So I want to thank you all for your support for this last year. Thank you very much. That's my